Maybe we can start off talking about the digital economy and the national strategy towards it. How well is our progress in that regard?
The government has actually done well in going down this road, the framework for a digital Sri Lanka. At the other end, we've got high penetration of mobiles and internet connectivity and so on. And ultimately, it's about trust, right? So there's a lot of work that needs to be done in the middle.
Infrastructure-wise, public digital infrastructure, how much more are we talking about?
There's a fair bit to be done. Other legislation that's coming around it, infrastructure needs to be put in. We need to make sure that it's not done in an ad hoc manner, that it's done as part of a strategy towards sort of a unified agenda.
What exactly is happening right now and what can we expect this year?
Sri Lanka was one of the first countries in South Asia to put this legislation into place. The private sector, especially the large businesses, already have a lot of the elements required to secure information. They just need to put in some processes. Public sector is way behind in terms of how they've implemented this. So there's lots of changes that need to happen, whether it's hotels or banks or the divisional secretariat, the coffee shop, whoever it is. Our personal data is not free. Our data is something that we need to value and hold on to because the impact of data leakage is huge. It can be huge. It can impact not just us as individuals, but as society.
How ready is Sri Lanka to be a digital economy? We spoke about all of this and more with Vasee Nesiah. Stay tuned.
For 30 years, LMD has been the voice of business in Sri Lanka, capturing the pulse of the nation's corporate landscape through its iconic covers. Each cover tells a story, from the first edition in 1994 to the present day, narrating key moments, leaders and trends that have shaped Sri Lanka's business ecosystem. Over the years, LMD covers have featured thought leaders, business pioneers and game-changing innovations, reflecting the evolution of industries and the economy. As we celebrate 30 years, these covers represent more than just publications. They are a testament to LMD's legacy of excellence in business journalism and its unwavering commitment to being Sri Lanka's leading voice of business. LMD, Sri Lanka's voice of business, a legacy of 30 years.
Hello and welcome to LMDtv. The topic of conversation today is the tech landscape of Sri Lanka. And I'm here with CEO of KBSL, Mr. Vasee Nesiah. Welcome to our show.
Thank you, Sarah.
Lovely to have you. Isn't it, if I start off, tech landscape is vast. I hope I'll be able to ask you, questions. Maybe we can start off talking about the digital economy and the national strategy towards it. How well is our progress in that regard?
Yeah, so the government has actually done well in going down this road by setting up the framework for a digital Sri Lanka. And at the other end, we've got high penetration of mobiles and internet connectivity and so on. What we need to do is bridge the gap, and that gap needs to be bridged with both government and with the public and the private sector. And think of it like like the whole new road network. You got to have the infrastructure, you need to have the automation, the traffic lights and so on, and then you need to have the governance, the rules by which you use these roads. So that's where the tech sector comes in, and we need to help both the public and the private sector bridge that gap. And ultimately, it's about trust, right? If you're going to drive on the road, you need to be confident, and that trust is the same sort of trust that you need to use to embrace this digital. For Sri Lankans to embrace this digital Sri Lanka initiative, they need trust. They need to know that the information is secure. They need to know that it's not going to be compromised, that it's not going to end up on the dark web somewhere. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done in the middle.
I love how you structured it. So I think I'm going to follow the same structure. Infrastructure, automation, and then governance. Infrastructure-wise, public digital infrastructure, we have seen some progress, but how much more are we talking about?
There's a fair bit to be done. And there's a fair bit to be done because there's other legislation that's coming around it, Personal Data Protection Act and so on.
Yes.
So we're used to treating information fairly in a fairly relaxed manner. That needs to change.
Sure.
That needs to change. And so infrastructure needs to be put in, digital infrastructure, and we need to make sure that it's not done in an ad hoc manner, that it's done as part of a strategy towards a sort of a unified agenda.
Vasee Nesiah, since you mentioned the PDPA, we've seen a very, I would say, slow and phased out kind of approach here. What exactly is happening right now and what can we expect this year?
Sure. So Sri Lanka was one of the first countries in South Asia to put this legislation into place. The problem is that, okay, now we've got the legislation, but compliance is something that impacts both the public and the private sector. The private sector, especially the large businesses, already have a lot of the elements required to secure information. They just need to put in some processes and maybe a couple of other layers of software applications and whatnot.
Right.
The public sector is way behind in terms of how they've implemented this. Let me give you an example. If, let's say, you're using a ride-sharing app and the driver calls you to make sure that the location is correct.
Yes.
That driver's number is often masked,
Hidden.
so you don't see that driver's number. But if you call the driver back, the driver has your contact details. That has to change. Used to be that we go to a supermarket and we give you a mobile number, we give you a credit card number, and they'll enter the whole credit card number into the system.
Yes.
They can't do that anymore. So there's lots of changes that need to happen, whether it's hotels or banks or
Even just the coffee shop.
the divisional secretariat, the coffee shop, whoever it is. They need to change the way they handle and manage their data, because data is not free. Our personal data is not free. Our data is something that we need to value and hold on to, because the impact of it, of data leakage, is huge. It can be huge. It can impact not just us as individuals, but as a society.
How ready are our citizens, do you think? Because more often than not, we would just tick and say agree, and then we'd go forward.
So that's a very good question, because we have been conditioned over the years to just comply.
Yeah.
Yeah. When somebody wants something, we say, yes, okay, here, this is what we do. That has to change. That has to change. So part of it is educating our citizenry that there is a difference now in how this information is going to be handled, and you need to value it, and you need to be protective of your personal data. We need to educate the public and private sector staff about the new processes in place, and put in the governance and help understand that ultimately this is something that impacts everybody.
Vasee Nesiah, I also want to ask you about the digital identity, because now when we talk of PDPA, like everything coming together, this is something that's going to be the starting point. How will it work out?
So basically, this whole process, this whole initiative is built on trust, right? So trust needs to be enabled. And now I spent about 18, 19 years in Australia. And in Australia, they've implemented something in the last 6, 7, 8 years, something called a MyGov ID. So that's essentially, you need a MyGov ID to access citizen services, whether it is your medical records, whether it is your Centrelink payments, anything that you want from the government, you need that. And that is on your phone.
Right.
And that's how you authenticate it. So there's some trust built into it, not some, there's a lot of trust built into it. And then moment you have control of that, you can then access all of your information. You can go to different doctors and they'll upload their medical records. You no longer have to carry a book like you do here with all your prescriptions pasted on it. It's all online. So we'll get there.
Yes.
But to enable that, you need this digital identity, and that needs to be rolled out. And I'm sure Sri Lanka will be a different place in about 3 years.
Definitely looking forward to it. How easy or difficult is it? I'm sure it's going to be difficult, but how do you envision this?
It has to be phased. It has to be phased. You can't just flick a switch and enforce compliance.
Yeah.
You're setting yourself for failure. So the government's done the right thing in putting the legislation in place, and they're rolling out compliance and implementation in stages. And a lot of that has to do with awareness, people understanding what the risk is, people understanding what they have to do to bridge that risk. For instance, one of the requirements for organizations is that they have a data protection officer.
Right.
Now, it can be somebody in-house, or it could be somebody who consults, but you need to have somebody who could come in and make sure that you've got this correct protection in place.
Right.
and that you have the correct measures in place and the processes in place and so on. And also, there are ISO standards that are coming in for the larger businesses, which are sort of absolutely necessary to as building blocks for this compliance.
It's time now to take a very short break, but we soon be back to talk more about tech in Sri Lanka.
Display your brand message on digital screens at prime locations. The largest digital advertising network in Sri Lanka. Emerging Media.
Welcome back to the show. We're in conversation with Vasee Nesiah, who is the CEO of KBSL. Since we're talking about data protection, public, private, and the citizens, we eventually, I think we'll have to also talk about AI as
Sure.
well, because it's everywhere.
Yeah.
If we focus first on the corporate side of things, are our corporates really harnessing the power of AI right now?
Not really. Some of the larger companies, especially in the banking sector, are using AI to some extent. But for the most part, the understanding of AI doesn't go beyond ChatGPT. But the potential of AI to help deliver greater efficiency, to help deliver greater trust, to help manage automation and processes is huge. And that's where the tech sector can come in and play a role in helping organizations understand how AI can be deployed to deliver better efficiencies, to help manage processes, and so on and so forth. One of the issues with AI is that AI is also rapidly evolving,
Yes.
right? And so we've gone from, like a year ago, ChatGPT was the buzzword.
Yeah.
Now, you're talking about agentic AI, where basically machines learn how to address issues and look for information and then generate responses on an ongoing basis and keep improving the outcomes. Now, that capability can be tapped and can be managed, and there's potential for new employment. People need to retool themselves. They need to retool businesses and so on. So yes, AI is a good thing. It's, again, people don't understand what it can do for them, and smaller businesses typically tend to think of adopting AI as a cost rather than a leg up. And it's actually something that can help them deliver greater efficiencies and deliver better results for themselves.
Now, if I ask you how complex it will be to protect data with AI, due to AI, there might be issues, and with AI, there might be solutions.
Yeah.
How can that be?
No. There's lots of technology solutions out there that can be used with AI to help protect data and to prevent data breaches, to prevent leakage of information, and that's where, again, the tech sector can come in and play a role, because we have the capability to do that. We have the capability to understand what the problem is and suggest what tools are required to fix that problem.
Mr. Nesiah, it's been a very interesting conversation, and I think the time has flown a little bit. I'm at my last question, really.
Sure.
You were mentioning some of the challenges that companies have been. They are harnessing the power of not only AI, but tech and digital in general. If I ask a more positive question, what are the strengths that companies have that they need to really optimize on to get on board the digital economy?
Sure. So I think we should be grateful that we live in a country where literacy is high, digital penetration is high. There is and this can be contested sometimes, but there is a sense of law and order, unlike other countries in South Asia. So we've got all the building blocks. We've got the foundation. We've got the legislation in place at the other end. What we need now is sort of a more focused approach on how we can bridge the gap and help deliver a better result. So a digital Sri Lanka, an outcome where ultimately it needs to impact citizens. And if we can deliver over the next 12 months, it's going to be really critical how we do this. Because if we, in the next 12 months, if we can make some progress, then people start embracing it, and they start enjoying the fact that, yes, all of a sudden they're in control.
Yes.
They're not just told what to do. It's their information. And they're able to deliver better outcomes for their families and for themselves and for their businesses and so on. So, yes, I see this whole digitalization, the awareness build up around PDPA, onset of artificial intelligence, so on. They're all good things for Sri Lanka.
Yeah, yeah. We just need to find the glue that brings everything together.
And that's where the tech sector can play a role.
Exactly, exactly. Because I think it, as an advocate, as a supporter, and maybe as an
Sure.
expert, well.
Yeah.
Just one question, if I ask you before you go, how is the human element? I mean, the talent. Do we have enough? And what more is needed?
Brilliant question, because when I first started off in the tech sector here in the mid-90s, we had serious problems with talent. We had shortage of talent. And my first company that I started in 97, we were struggling to find people. And if you found somebody, you would actually make sure he didn't let them go. But now there's good people coming through the system. The new generation is capable of embracing these technologies. Technology is a lot more fluid now, the technology landscape, and they're able to adapt with it. I don't see it as a huge problem.
Okay.
I think there needs to be some retooling. There's been, over the years, there's been a big focus on software development skills. That needs to change a little bit.
Right.
But we'll get there.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
We've been in conversation with the CEO of KBSL, Vasee Nesiah. Thank you very much. It has been a very insightful conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you to all our viewers for joining us. Until next time, take care.
Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and X. Thank you for watching and stay safe.